You remember yesterday. You remember what you had for breakfast this morning. You remember your first day of school, your first heartbreak, a conversation you had last week that you keep replaying in your head. The past is the most solid, most certain thing you know. It happened, it is done, it is fixed. Nothing can change it. The past is the one thing in this universe you can be absolutely sure of, because unlike the future, which is uncertain, and unlike the present, which is so brief it barely exists, the past is permanent, settled, real. Except it isn't. The past does not exist. Not as a place, not as a thing, not as a stored record somewhere in the physical universe. The past is gone in the most absolute, most literal, most physically precise sense of that word. And when you really understand what that means, when you trace it all the way down to what physics actually says about time and existence and the structure of reality, something in how you think about your own life is going to change permanently. Let me show you. Start with a simple question. Where is the past? Not where is your memory of the past. Where is the past itself? If something happened yesterday, where is that yesterday now? You might say it is behind you in the past, but that is just restating the question using a spatial metaphor. You are treating time like a road, and the past like a stretch of road you have already traveled, still there behind you, still existing, just in a different location. But time is not a road, and the past is not a location. So where is it? Here is the uncomfortable answer. It is nowhere. The past does not occupy any region of space. It does not exist in any physical medium. It is not stored anywhere in the universe in the way that a book stores words or a hard drive stores data. The events that made up yesterday, the specific configuration of every atom and field and particle in the universe at that moment, that configuration is gone. It no longer exists. The universe has moved on. Every particle has moved. Every field has evolved. The state the universe was in yesterday is not a place you can go back to. It is not a thing that still exists somewhere. It is a state that the universe was in and is no longer in, and states that no longer obtain do not exist. This is not philosophy. This is thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics says that entropy, the measure of disorder in a closed system, always increases or stays the same. It never spontaneously decreases. This law has a direction to it. A cup falling off a table and shattering is a process that increases entropy. The shards are more disordered than the cup. You have never seen shards spontaneously jump off the floor and reassemble into a cup because that would require entropy to decrease, which the second law forbids. The process is irreversible, and irreversibility is not just a practical limitation. It is a fundamental feature of the physical world. What this means is that time has a direction, a one-way direction, and the reason is entropy. The universe started, for reasons we do not fully understand, in an extraordinarily low entropy state, a state of extreme order and compactness. And it has been evolving toward higher and higher entropy ever since. That evolution is what we call time. Time is not a dimension you move through the way you move through space. Time is the direction in which entropy increases, the direction in which ordered states give way to disordered ones, the direction in which the cup falls, and the shards scatter, and the coffee cools, and the smoke disperses. The future is the direction of more disorder. The past is the direction of less disorder. And you cannot go back because you cannot make the universe spontaneously reduce its entropy. The past is the low entropy direction, not because there is a barrier in your way, because it no longer exists as a physical state. Now, here is where Einstein comes in. And this is where things get genuinely strange. Einstein's special relativity tells us something extraordinary about time. Time is not universal. It is not a fixed background against which events happen at the same rate for everyone. Time is relative. It depends on how fast you are moving and how strong the gravitational field around you is. A clock on a fast-moving rocket ticks slower than a clock sitting still. A clock at the bottom of a tall building, deeper in Earth's gravitational field, ticks slower than a clock at the top. These are not thought experiments. They are measured facts. GPS satellites have to correct for relativistic time dilation every single day, or their navigation systems would drift by kilometers. Time runs at different rates for different observers. And here is the consequence that most people never fully sit with. If time is relative, if different observers measure different amounts of time passing between the same two events, then the past is not the same for everyone. The sequence of events, the order in which things happen, the very structure of before and after, is not absolute. It depends on the observer's state of motion. Two events that are simultaneous for one observer can happen in different orders for another observer moving relative to the first. The past of one observer is not necessarily the past of another. What is done and settled from one perspective may still be open and undecided from another. This is not a paradox. It is what the mathematics of special relativity actually says. Simultaneity is relative. The concept of now is local. There is no universal now that applies to everyone everywhere in the universe simultaneously, which means there is no universal past that everyone shares. But go even deeper, because there is something even more unsettling waiting at the bottom of this. In physics, the universe is described by what is called the block universe, or eternalism. This is the view that follows naturally from the mathematics of relativity. In the block universe picture, all of space-time, past, present, and future exists simultaneously as a four-dimensional structure. Your birth is there in the structure. Your death is there in the structure. Yesterday is there. Tomorrow is there. Everything that has happened and everything that will happen exists as equally real, equally present features of the four-dimensional space-time block. There is no privilege now. There is no flowing present moment moving from past to future. There is just the block, and every moment in your life exists in it as a fixed, permanent, unchanging feature. If this is true, then the past does exist. But it exists the way a distant city exists. It is real, it is there, but you cannot access it from where you are standing now. You are located at a particular point in the space-time block called now, and the past is a different region of the block, just as real, just as physically present, but separated from you by a dimension you cannot traverse in reverse. So which is it? Does the past exist or not? The honest answer is that we do not know. The block universe picture is mathematically consistent with relativity, and many physicists take it seriously. But it raises deep questions that physics cannot yet answer. If the past and future both exist as fixed features of the space-time block, then what is the nature of the flowing present moment that you experience right now? What is the now? You are not experiencing the entire block simultaneously. You are experiencing this moment, this instant, as vivid and immediate and present in a way that yesterday and tomorrow are not. Where does that experience of knownness come from if all moments are equally real? This is called the problem of the present, and it is one of the most profound unsolved problems at the intersection of physics and philosophy. Physics gives us a space-time block with no preferred now. Experience gives us a vivid, undeniable, immediate present moment. These two things do not easily fit together, and no one has satisfactorily explained how to make them fit. But here is what we do know. Here is what the physics is absolutely clear about. You cannot go back, not in any physical sense, not in any practical sense, not in any theoretical sense within the laws of physics as we currently understand them. The second law of thermodynamics forbids spontaneous entropy decrease. The laws of physics as we understand them, even if they are technically time-symmetric at the microscopic level, produce a universe in which the macroscopic arrow of time points in one direction only, and that direction is forward, always forward, away from the past, into the future, without exception, without possibility of reversal. Every second that passes, the universe moves further from the state it was in. Every moment, the configuration of atoms and fields and particles that constituted the past moment is overwritten by a new configuration. The old state is not stored. It is not archived. It is not preserved anywhere in the physical universe. It is simply no longer the case. The universe is not a recording. It is a process, and processes do not preserve their previous states. They just keep going. Your memories are not the past. Let me be very specific about this. When you remember something, what is actually happening? A pattern of neural connections in your brain, laid down when the original event occurred, gets reactivated. Neurons fire in a particular sequence. A reconstruction is produced, not a playback, not a direct access to the original event, a reconstruction based on the stored pattern. And that reconstruction is imperfect. It is influenced by everything that has happened to you since the original event, by your current emotional state, by how many times you have remembered it before, by what you have learned since then. Every time you remember something, you are not accessing the past. You are rebuilding it in the present using current materials. And the rebuilding changes the stored pattern slightly each time. Memory researchers have demonstrated this extensively. Eyewitness memories are notoriously unreliable. People confidently remember events that did not happen. They misremember the order of events, the details, the emotional tone. They incorporate information they learned after the event into their memory of the event itself. Memory is not a camera. Memory is a storytelling system, a system that takes fragments of stored information and weaves them into a coherent narrative that feels like direct access to the past, but is actually a creative reconstruction happening entirely in the present. Your past is not stored in the universe. It is not stored in your brain. It is reconstructed approximately and perfectly every time you reach for it, from patterns that are themselves slowly degrading and changing. The past you remember is not the past that happened. It is the past that your present brain is capable of reconstructing right now, in this moment, with the tools available to it. So where does that leave you? It leaves you exactly where you are, in the present. This moment, the only moment that physically, unambiguously, certainly exists. The past is gone. Not stored somewhere inaccessible, but actually gone, no longer a state the universe is in. The future does not yet exist, or if it exists in the block universe sense, you cannot access it from here. You have the present. You have the reconstruction your brain makes of the past when you ask it to remember. And you have the anticipation your brain generates when you ask it to imagine the future. Both of those are present moment processes. Both of them are happening now. This could be terrifying, or it could be liberating. Feynman used to say that the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. We fool ourselves about the past constantly. We treat our reconstructed memories as if they were direct access to fixed, settled reality. We carry yesterday's hurts and yesterday's victories as if they were still present, still happening, still real, in the way that this moment is real. But they are not. They are patterns in neural tissue being reconstructed right now, in this moment, shaped by who you are right now. The past event is gone. What remains is the current reconstruction. And reconstructions can be examined, can be revised, can be understood differently. The carbon in your body has been cycling through the atmosphere and through other living things for billions of years. You are a temporary arrangement of atoms in an ongoing process. And the moments of your life are not a film that gets stored somewhere and preserved forever. They are states that the universe passes through on its way somewhere else. They happen. They are real while they happen. And then they are over, completely and irrevocably over, and the universe moves on. That is not a tragedy. That is the physics of being alive. Every moment you are in is the only moment that exists, not metaphorically, physically. The present is where existence happens. And the present is always now. It was now a moment ago. It will be now a moment from now. It is always only exactly now. And if you spend it somewhere else, reconstructing a past that no longer exists, or anticipating a future that does not yet exist, you are spending the only currency the universe actually gives you on things that in the most precise physical sense are not there. The past does not exist. And that might be the most important thing physics ever told you. If you want to keep seeing the world for what it actually is, not what it appears to be, subscribe. That is what this channel is for.